hopefully, in a perfect world, my future would look like growing old with Addison's. I found out I had Addison's on the 15th of October 2015. I had my first baby in October of 2013. And then after that, I just didn't feel right. I never fully recovered from that birth. And after he was born, I just thought that was how I was feeling. It was the first time mum, so I thought that's how you're supposed to feel. I then fell pregnant again 6 weeks after my first son was born. And in August of 2014, gave birth to that baby. By then, I was really sick. I had the pigmentation all over my lips and starting to show up on other parts of my body. And it just didn't get any better. After I had my second baby, I started to go really downhill after that. So I'd had then 2 babies in 12 months. And I was just not well. I was wanting to sleep all the time, just wasn't myself. I was really moody. I was having leg cramps, and the pigment was really bad by then. And I'd seen about 12 doctors and nothing. I had a couple of doctors tell me that I had bad pigment. It was just a pigment. I had a couple of doctors tell me that they thought that I had lead poisoning, because clearly I eat a lot of lead. And I had a couple of doctors that did tests and there was nothing wrong with me. So they then thought that I needed antipsychotic medication because they couldn't find anything wrong with me. And I kept saying, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. We moved to Gladstone. And a local doctor, I got up one morning and thought, this isn't right. This isn't how I'm supposed to feel. And we'd only been there for a week, and I made an appointment to see a Gladstone doctor. And he looked at me, and I remember him holding the bottom of my face and looking at my lips. And he said to me, I'm going to test you for Addison's disease. I thought, okay, like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. And he kept looking at my pigment. And he said to me, I think we need to call an ambulance. And I was like, I remember saying, like, I'm okay. Like, I drove here, my car's here. The kid's dad was at home with them. And I said to him, like, I'm okay. I just came because I don't feel good at all. And he said, I think we need to call an ambulance. And he ended up calling an ambulance. And they came and picked me up. And all I remember thinking was, I feel sick enough to be a doctor, but I don't feel sick enough to be in the back of an ambulance. And we got to the hospital and I saw the medical doctor upstairs in the ward. And he saw me and he said, no, there's no way it's Addison's disease. And I went, okay, well that's one less thing. And they did the Addison's disease test, and that night I Googled everything I could find on Addison's disease. Within about 20 seconds of opening up and seeing what the symptoms were, I knew that's what I had. Some of the symptoms don't happen to everybody, but every single thing that is a symptom with Addison's I personally get. Leg cramps, wanting just uncontrollable eating of salt, muscle spasms, vomiting, diarrhea, upset stomach, pigment, and normally most people just get a couple, but I read through the list and went, this is what I have. And the doctor came back that night and he said, no, I'm positive this is not what you have. And the next morning he came in, they were on their ward rounds, and he came in to me and he said, do you want to go for a bit of a walk and we'll go and sit in the lounge room? And I said, yeah, that's fine. And he would have had, I think there would have been at least 6 other people with him. And I sat down and he said to me, I was wrong. You have Addison's disease. And I looked at him and I said, I know. And he said, but we've only just done the test. And I said, but I looked last night and I read into the disease because I'd never heard of it. And I know that's what I have. And I knew from last night when I had a look that that's what I had. And he said, it's quite bad. He said, your pigment is really bad, but this is what we're going to do to stop it. And he went through everything. There's no treatment yet, as of yet. So in a perfect world, it would be to grow old and have hydrocortisone or some kind of cortisol that sustains my body. But at the moment, that's not the case. My body isn't responding to the hydrocortisone. Most people are on 10 to 60 milligrams of hydrocortisone daily. And at the moment I'm on 400 to 500, depending. So my Addison's is quite a severe case of Addison's, and it's definitely not a textbook case. Addison's disease affects me daily, every single second of every single day of my life. I had no idea when I was diagnosed that it would be this way. I was never ever prepared for everything. I knew that it would affect me, but I had no idea to the amount that it would affect me. It affects getting out of bed in the morning. My children get up anywhere between 4:30 and 5, so I have to set a 4 o'clock alarm to wake up, reach across, grab my hydrocortisone, inject it or swallow it, whichever one I choose to do that day, and I go back to sleep then until they wake up, so that I've given myself a good 20 to 30 minutes before they get up, before I can even do anything. Otherwise my body just doesn't function at all. It's affected everything, absolutely everything. I can't sit and watch a sad movie without taking hydrocortisone. So because my body doesn't make cortisol any time at all that it's in a stressful position, which for someone else is crying, may not be a stressful position, or cutting their finger on a knife isn't a stressful position, but for my body it is, because it doesn't make cortisol. So it doesn't know how to react in those circumstances. So if I watch a movie and it's sad, hydrocortisone. So I have to physically get up off the couch, take tablets or an injection, come back and then continue. The thing with Addison's disease is that you don't know, there's no scale or textbook to tell you how much you should or shouldn't take. So if the movie goes for 2 hours and I've cried 15 times, I then have to decide whether I take 10 milligrams of hydrocortisone or whether I take 50 milligrams of hydrocortisone. If I cut my finger in the kitchen, that happens. Even if I get excited, excitement can do it as well. So we were fishing off the dock one year, last year it was, and I caught a fish, and it was a big fish, and I was really, really proud of it. And I had to take hydrocortisone. So I'm pulling in a fish, I had to stop pulling in a fish, get someone else to pull in my awesome fish, take hydrocortisone before I could continue to try and net the fish, because my body doesn't know how to manage that peak. I went to hospital this week for an adrenal crisis, something that started out as me just not feeling very hungry, then turned into a full adrenal crisis. So when I say adrenal crisis, it means that every now and then my body goes into almost like shock and just pretty much tries to destroy itself. So it pretty much just takes out everything that you've got, anything that is working. And I think it was just the end of Christmas I then get hospitalised. So I go to my doctor. I normally know when I'm in adrenal crisis, and I knew that we were at the start of it. So I present at my doctors. I say, this is what's wrong, this is how I feel. And they normally say, off to the hospital. The hospital staff know me. I've worked with a lot of them as well, so that helps. But they do know me, and they got me in pretty quickly and got me sorted. The disease affects my boys probably more than I'd like to admit. It means that instead of having the mum that gets to run and play with them all the time and chase after them, and they don't get that. They do. I give it my best, but it's not where it should be, and I know that. So I guess what I can't do with fun stuff, I just replace with love and dedication and determination, I guess. That's a big question. What would I like people to know about the disease? I would like them to, one, know that we're not being lazy, nor are we faking it. I would like them, two, to know that it's killing people daily. I would like them, three, to know that we don't have a normal life. And we try very, very hard to have a normal life, but we will never have a normal life. I would also like people to know that somewhere out there will be a cure. And I need to find that cure. I need people to raise awareness, and I need people to reach out to people with this disease, because it's not a nice disease. It's more than just a week or a day. And whether you have Addison's at a low-key level or whether yours is quite intense like mine is, you struggle every single day. I'd like them to know that we don't have energy. We don't make energy. We give our body tablets and injections and hope to God that it tricks our body. So sometimes when people ask us to do things and we decline, it's not because we don't want to go. It's because we're using every single ounce of energy that we have to just get through the day.